We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Nick Beres along with Connie Sue Davenport. She is an antiques appraiser, an expert on a lot of these items. The number on the screen, 615-737-7587. Thank you, Connie, for coming on. You don't mind coming on and hanging with me for an hour, do you?
No, I wish we could bring the helicopter, though. That drive into town was tricky.
Yes, that's what the helicopter shows, the traffic. Next time.
Get him to pick me
We'll
up.
get Sky 5 to pick you up.
All right.
I don't know that we can do that, but I can give it a try.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the phone calls. Next up is Jane. Jane, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you, Jane? What can we do for you?
Well, my husband's mother passed away about 2 or 3 years ago, and she was a collector of music boxes and porcelain music. They're all from the late 60s and the early 70s. And we've looked them up and Googled them to see if they're worth anything, and they do have good value. But we're trying to just sell them in flea markets and stuff, and we don't really know what we have.
Well, if you have looked them up and you see them for sale?
Yes.
Okay. Well, look for what they're selling for.
Well, when I Google them, you'll see a good price on them, but, you can't, to me, I don't want to sell them for that price. I mean, some of them they'll say $60, $100, and because they're wooden, they're porcelain, they're all kinds, because she had a huge collection.
Well, I would look on eBay's sold listings. On anything collectible like that, there's a bar on the left side of the Google page. And
well, they all say vintage instead of antique.
The music boxes do?
Can you tell us, what's the difference between vintage and antique?
Vintage to me is like a non-word because it really doesn't mean anything other than we didn't know what to put here.
Oh, I kind of think vintage means antique. That's just off my head. If I heard someone says vintage, I'm going to think it's old, I guess.
And old is a relative term as well.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm just thinking that's just the average person. I bet if you ask most people, what does vintage mean? Oh, it's probably something antique.
Something your mom had.
Okay.
And so that means my mother's 80-some my mom had. But if my daughter says something vintage, she'll think it's something I had. So it just kind of moves down the generation there.
All right, so
meaningless. But anyway, back to the music boxes. Yeah, these have got to be on eBay, and the sold listings are where you find what people are paying for them. Now, if you decide you don't want to sell them for what they're paying, then certainly that's their choice. But that's really good evidence of what you would get for it. What people are paying for.
Music boxes, again, something that people have brought up before. I mean, I think the right ones are sought after, right?
Yes.
I mean, they're very
good
cool.
German ones.
Yeah.
Swiss. Yeah.
That's the way, and she said they're different materials. Wood, porcelain. You like porcelain stuff?
Yeah, but it's very broad.
What about Wedgwood? Yeah. See that, those Redwood plates or whatever. I had some old ones that I think my relatives brought back from Greece or something. Is Wedgwood a ceramic?
Wedgwood is a maker.
It's a maker.
Yes.
And then are they making it out of ceramic? It has all that ornate decorations.
Is that applied white figures? Yeah, that's a kind of a basalt or a big bisque.
Okay.
An unglazed porcelain.
Kind of neat.
That's really collectible, but the things that we buy on vacation are not as valuable as the things that people got when they were in the club.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So those would be more collectible, probably.
All right. Again, the number 737-7587. We've got some lines open. Let's go next to DJ. DJ, good morning.
Good morning.
How can we help you, DJ?
I got a question. I collect decks of playing cards, and they're just any types of decks of playing cards. Are decks of playing cards very sought after and collectible?
They are, but because they are so readily available online, the collectors want perfect ones or the unbroken packs. So if you can, collect those first.
Well, how do you, I'm intrigued. So how do you go about collecting them? I mean, where do you buy them, and are they in packs?
Usually antique stores, and usually an auction or two, and I've bought several decks at yard sales.
But they've already been opened, most of them, right?
Most of them have, but the decks that I'm looking for are the older kind of the boxes that have that suede outside.
Ooh, yeah. I know those boxes. They are nice.
Really? Okay. Yeah. So how many do you have?
Right at probably, well, I've got 2 long Rubbermaid tubs full, and I've got a lot of other decks that I can't fit into those, if that tells you anything.
Uh-huh.
Huh. Okay.
Interesting. Now, what do you usually pay for them?
Yeah.
Not very much. Usually ranging from, well, the last deck I bought, I paid $1.50 for it.
Yeah.
But it's just not regular decks of cards. I have got some older decks of Uno cards and some older decks of Rook cards as well.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
All right.
Because good playing cards, new, are expensive.
That's right. I'm just curious, are you collecting them because it's a neat thing to collect and you enjoy it, or are you trying to collect them from the aspect of this is an investment?
No, I'm collecting them because I enjoy collecting them. I've always been a big playing card, board game, whatever kind of game type person.
I'm with you. I think that's fantastic.
Oh, I love
they happen to be. But I guess your point is, now I'm trying to envision what he described, the felt kind of boxes, the old style ones.
You know, you have boxes and they slide open.
Okay.
There's a picture generally of the cards on the front.
All right.
And then you slide it open and the cards are in there. And on the sides, there is kind of a felt over paper. It does feel like felt, but it's
that's cool. You know, it's
sprayed onto the cardboard.
So interesting, because playing cards truly now are becoming more and more a thing of the past. Of course, we have gambling in Vegas and that kind of stuff, but the truth is, people and their video games and their cell phones, or at least the young folks. I don't even know if my son knows what a deck of cards looks like. And I take that back because I know he used to go fish with me and things like that.
Well, I have a
but
deck.
That's not in his realm anymore.
I have a deck that's just stunning. You know, the colors are beautiful, but I don't have, 2 tubs of them. But
yeah.
I can see the attraction.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your call and a neat collection there. Let's go to Keith. Keith, good morning. Hi, Keith.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Keith.
Listen, my wife and I have an old Grammar guitar I think was manufactured here in Nashville in the 60s. It's a Sunburst edition, and I was wondering if you could ask the nice lady there what she thinks it might be worth.
Well, I'd have to research that. But you know what? We've got one of the best stringed instrument appraisers here in town, George Gruen.
Okay.
He's out on 8th Avenue. I don't know if he'll still like me if I tell him this.
But it's one of the best. No, but you recognize the type of guitar he has. Now, if you would, so you're living in Music City, so there's got to be places. What's his name again? George Gruen. George Gruen. Oh, of course. Can be someone who can maybe give you an assessment on the value of that guitar.
Because
and clearly,
it's very small nuances in guitars that make that vast difference in value.
So you need someone with a real eye for that. Really?
Yes.
So, really, zeros of difference. Something very small can be the difference between a guitar being worth thousands and maybe just hundreds.
Yes.
All right. Is there, again, like anything, I would imagine, especially in Music City, if you happen to have one of those zeros that you really want, or rather, that makes the zeros big, is there a market for it?
Yeah, I'd broker it out. Somebody that sells a lot of guitars.
Yeah, but you know
there's guitar buyers coming to them.
There's people that collect guitars and all of that. Listen, we have to take a break on that note, but yeah, you live in a city that'll find out. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
We have commercials. We pay the bills, so we'll do that. We'll be back with more. Our final segment, more of your calls. If you want to jump in, as usual, it's gotten busy now all of a sudden, but we do have some lines open. We'll get to as many of you as we can right after this. George, Linda, Ann, and others right after this. Is this what?